Hey, friends! Peter Pan. J.M. Barrie wrote this seminal work of fiction that has captivated readers, young and old, for well over a century. And now, Disney has taken a big, steaming dump on our television screens with Peter Pan and Wendy. Or Wendy and Peter Pan, more alike. A new version adapted for modern audiences. Ugh. They ought to sell some air freshener along with every Disney Plus subscription. Seriously, it stinks. If you want to see a version of Peter Pan, best not to waste your time with this thing. You could screen the animated version from 1953, which is very good. Or you could screen the famous classic TV adaptation from 1956, starring Mary Martin, very faithful to the stage play and very old school, which is the best school. Or if you want a sort of prequel to Peter Pan, you could screen Finding Neverland, a loving and heartfelt tribute to the story and its author. Or, if you want a sequel, well, hell, Hook is the best bet there. All of these, oceans better than the new Disney thing. But this time we're talking about another version of the story proper. Namely, this one, Peter Pan from 2003, starring Jason Isaacs and Lynn Redgrave. Our story, which you probably already know, goes like this. One night, the Darling kids encounter Peter Pan when he flies in their window looking for his shadow. The three kids, especially Wendy, the oldest, don't want to be trapped in the grown-up world their family wants to plan for them, so they head off to Never Never Land with Peter Pan. There they have various adventures as they help Peter battle the sinister pirate Captain Hook. Wendy acts as a sort of mother, something Peter and his friends there, the Lost Boys, never had. And they get to live out the fantasy of staying in a world of childhood and play where children never grow old. But if they stay too long in Never Never Land, they'll forget their parents, and they're starting to. Realizing the danger, Wendy has to convince Peter to take them home because everyone has to grow up, except Peter Pan. That's the condensed version of it right there. Can Wendy save her brothers and the Lost Boys? Will Peter fall into the clutches of the evil Captain Hook? And will Peter ever leave Never Never Land and grow up? You'll note this movie was dedicated to Dodi Al-Fayed. Why? Because Dodi Al-Fayed, his father, was the executive producer, helping to underwrite the cost of the picture. Dodi Al-Fayed, you'll remember, was killed along with Princess Diana when the paparazzi got them into a car wreck. Ugh. In our cast, we have Lynn Redgrave as Aunt Millicent, who comes to stay. Richard Briers, a familiar face to Britcom fans, is here as Smee. Jeffrey Palmer is Sir Edward Couch. Olivia Williams plays Mrs. Darling. She was in The Sixth Sense and Rushmore. Rachael Hurd-Wood is Wendy, a pivotal character in the story, and she's very good here. Saffron Burrows narrates, and in an alternate ending that's available on the DVD, she plays the part of the older Wendy. And then there's Jason Isaacs. Always loved Jason Isaacs. Sorry, Jason. I love you, man, but even you being in it isn't enough to make me want to see any more of this vomit. I always thought he'd make a good James Bond, though. What do you think? You let me know down there in the comments. Anyway, following in the classic tradition of stage and screen versions of Peter Pan, he plays both Mr. Darling as well as Captain Hook. He's wonderful in both roles, the meek fuss-budget father and the sinister pirate. Peter Pan himself is played by not Jonathan Brandis, Jeremy Sumpter. He's wonderful. He later was in the TV series Friday Night Lights. Looks a bit like Jonathan Brandis, doesn't he? A little bit, maybe. This movie bombed hard, but it wasn't really the movie's fault. True, it was a full year in production and ran way over budget. Today, that's a sure sign of problems requiring a metric ton of rewrites and reshoots. But in this case, it was the special effects that had to be worked out, and that cost time and money. But on top of that, it was up against another movie released around the same time, which doomed it to oblivion. Namely, Peter Jackson's Return of the King. Nothing was gonna beat that picture. But even so, I went to go see this one when it came out, and I loved it. The quality shows in every frame. The money spent, you can see right there on the screen. True, some of the effects and matting are not quite perfect by today's standards, but they're perfectly serviceable for the time in which the movie was made. And the few liberties they do take with the story are not egregious, and they fit well within the requirements of storytelling for a motion picture. Ironically, this movie is more faithful to and respectful of the animated Disney film than the crappy Peter Pan and Wendy, the current live-action remake from Disney itself. Ugh. So don't waste your time with Disney's embarrassing remake rehash. Seriously, watch this one instead, Peter Pan from 2003. There's a lot to like here. It's full of wonder and joy and fun moments and good old-fashioned adventure, as it should be. I'm giving this one 3 paws up. It tells the story as it was meant to be told, and the creators obviously understood the nuances of J.M. Barrie's classic work and respected the timeless tale he crafted. You take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one.